India, a country called home to over 1.2 billion people. Where children learn, where children play, and where everyone has the opportunity to grow. Now imagine moving away from the South Asian country you've called home. How would you begin to adapt to your new culture? Especially one as unique as Lincoln, Nebraska. College students who come to America as sojourners have many options on how to culturally adapt in their new environment. Will they assimilate, which involves an individual giving up his or her own cultural heritage and adopting the mainstream cultural identity? Some students may choose to separate, which involves the cultural adaptation in which an individual retains his or her own original culture while interacting minimally with other groups. Students may integrate when they have an interest in both maintaining their original culture and language and in having daily interactions with other groups, such as the students at their college. It is different from assimilation, however, in that it involves a greater interest in maintaining one's own cultural identity. Finally, students may choose to create a cultural hybrid relationship, which involves adapting all three of the different forms of integration into their new home. Many students may experience a phase of culture shock, which is a short-term feeling of discomfort due to the lack of familiar cultural cues in their new environment. Many Indian students, for example, have grown up in high-context communication environments. In other words, those students grew up communicating in which much of the information is contained in the context and nonverbal cues rather than expressed in words. They are people with few words, essentially. Many American students, however, are different and have a low-context communication style where they convey information mostly in words. So many Indian students may be surprised to come to America where their cultural language differences are so apparent. With the case of Priya, who was a sophomore student at the University of Nebraska, Lincoln, she described when she first came to Nebraska. She had a cousin that lived in Iowa, and during the time when she lived in India, her cousin told her much about the University of Nebraska, Lincoln, and how it would be a great school for her to attend. She described that she was really scared, but her cousin kept reminding her that she would adjust, and the people I would want to be friends with wouldn't try to force me to be something that I was not, something that she was very worried about, that many other students of ethnic backgrounds feel like they come into contact with. Priya truly had taken on the task of assimilating to UNL with stride, and she had fun with it. She described that she was worried about not making friends right away, because nearly everyone that she met on her dorm room floor in Cather was white and looked nothing like her, and she didn't think that she had anything in common with her new dorm mates. She said that it felt a lot easier when one girl struck up a conversation with her and they talked for about an hour just about simple things that they understood and got along about. It helped her to see that her nerves were universal with starting college in a new place. The differences, similarities dialect was definitely at play when Priya was a freshman at the university. According to the similarity principle, we tend to be attracted to people who we perceive as being similar to ourselves, which is why Priya was essentially looking for other Indian students to learn from and get along with. And evidence indicates that this principle works for many cultural groups. When she was finally able to find another student that agreed with some of her similar beliefs and that she had things in common with, she was provided with cognitive consistency so that she would understand that she could assimilate with ease. My best advice to offer to native Nebraska UNL students would be to simply take the time to ask questions and get to know your fellow international students. You never know when you have the opportunity to make a new friend, and that can be done through simple nonverbal communication in addition to verbal communication. Simply take the time to get to know them and see what they're really all about. Whether they're from India or France or Spain, you never know when you can make a new friend.